My name is Evelyn Moore. I'm 31 years old. And I didn't understand how quickly love could be rebranded as control until the man I'd been dating for 2.5 years looked at me and said I treated him like a task. I'm someone who plans. I don't say that casually or defensively, it's just true. I plan because planning makes the world quieter, predictable, safe. Lists calm me, calendars ground me. Knowing what comes next keeps my anxiety from spiraling. It's how I've always been. And Ryan knew that when we met. We matched on a dating app, bonded over travel photos and dry humor. He liked that I was put together. His words, not mine. He told me early on that my decisiveness was attractive, that I made him feel like things were handled. For a long time, that felt like appreciation. The fight that ended everything happened on a Thursday night, 2 days before we were supposed to leave for Lisbon. I'd been planning the trip for 3 months. Not obsessively, intentionally. I found discounted flights, a boutique hotel in Alfama with iron balconies and soft morning light, restaurants Ryan had once casually mentioned, a walking route that avoided tourist traps. I even learned basic Portuguese phrases because I wanted to surprise him. I created a shared document, flexible, color-coded, optional. Suggestions, not commandments. That Thursday evening, I was at the dining table reviewing luggage limits while Ryan sat on the couch, scrolling on his phone. "Hey," I said gently. "Did you check the airline's baggage restrictions? I sent the link last week." "I'll deal with it at the airport," he muttered. "That's not a great plan. If it's overweight, the fee's high. Just check now so we can adjust." He sighed, irritated. "Evelyn, it's fine." "It's not fine if we get hit with surprise charges. I budgeted everything carefully." That's when he finally looked up. "Do you hear yourself?" he snapped. "You budgeted everything. You planned everything. You decided everything." My fingers froze on the keyboard. "We talked about this," I said. "You approved the hotel, the restaurants." "No," he said sharply. "You presented options you'd already chosen, and I said okay because you get annoyed when I don't have an opinion." That stung. I closed my laptop slowly. "That's not fair. I've been planning this for us." "For you," he shot back, "because this trip feels like another one of your projects." Something in his tone, dismissive, sharp, made my chest tighten. "What if I just want to wander?" he continued. "What if I don't want every hour optimized?" "The itinerary is flexible," I said. "It's suggestions." "It's 17 pages, Evelyn, 17. I stared at him. "I didn't ask you to do this," he said. "I never asked you to turn our vacation into a corporate presentation." My jaw tightened. "So you'd rather fly across the world with no plan at all?" I asked. "Just hope we stumble into good experiences?" "Maybe," he said. "Maybe that'd be more fun than following your damn spreadsheet." The venom caught me off guard. "Why are you attacking me for trying to make sure we have a good time?" I asked. "Because you do this with everything," he said. "Every date, every weekend, you manage our relationship." "That's not true." "Yes, it is. You have reminders in your phone to text me. I've seen them." My face burned. Those reminders were because once, I'd gotten busy and forgotten to text him for an entire day. He'd said he felt ignored, so I adjusted. "I did that because I care," I said quietly. "You shouldn't need alarms to remember your boyfriend," he snapped. "That's not caring. That's treating me like a chore." We stared at each other. My heart wasn't racing anymore. It was cold, clear. "I'm trying my best," I said. "I'm sorry if my best isn't good enough." "That's not what I'm saying," he replied. "You just spent 10 minutes telling me everything wrong with how I love you," I said. "So what do you want? For me to stop being who I am?" "I want you to stop treating me like one of your tasks," he said. "You don't own me." Something inside me snapped, not into anger, into clarity. I smiled. "Good thing," I said calmly. "I just marked this one as completed." He blinked. "What?" "This," I said. "Us. Consider it archived." "Evelyn, don't be dramatic." "I'm not," I replied. "I'm being honest. You told me my effort feels like control. Message received." "That's not—" "I'm removing you from my task list," I said. "Problem solved." I stood up, and that's when everything changed. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was spiraling, but because my brain had shifted into execution mode, the part of me that organizes chaos when emotions threaten to overwhelm logic. After Ryan left, quietly, without slamming the door, I sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, staring at the wall. The apartment still smelled like his cologne. Familiar, comforting, now wrong. Around midnight, I opened my laptop, and I started canceling. The hotel first. Partial refund. Within the window. Acceptable loss. Restaurant reservations. Gone. Museum tickets. Refund requested. Airport shuttle. Canceled. Each click felt strangely calm, not vengeful, not dramatic. Clean. Then I changed my flight. Non-refundable, non-transferable. If I was ending this, I was ending it completely. I turned off my phone and went to bed. Friday morning, I woke up to silence. I didn't turn my phone on. I didn't need to see the messages to know they were there. Ryan wasn't someone who stayed quiet when things went wrong. At work, my colleague Maya glanced at me across the conference table. "You okay?" she asked quietly. "I ended things with Ryan last night," I said. Her eyebrows lifted. "Before Lisbon?" "There is no Lisbons," I replied. She didn't push. I appreciated that more than sympathy. I stayed late, deliberately. Went home only to shower, then left again for a long walk. By the time I finally turned my phone on, the screen exploded. Missed calls, voicemails, texts stacked on texts. I didn't read them. I blocked his number. Saturday morning, the day we were supposed to fly, I unblocked him briefly, just long enough to send one message. "I canceled everything. Lisbon's off. You were right. I was treating you like a task. Now you're free. Have a good life." Then I blocked him again. I went for a long run, let my lungs burn, let the city blur past. What I didn't know, what I wouldn't find out until much later, was that Ryan had decided our fight was fixable. That sometime Friday night, after sending messages I never read, he packed anyway. He told himself we'd talk it out at the airport, that I was just upset, that couple's fight, that I'd cool down. Saturday morning, he went to the airport alone. He texted me when he arrived, called me when I didn't answer, went through security anyway. At the gate, he kept looking at every woman walking past, waiting to see me. Boarding started. I wasn't there. He boarded the plane, convinced I'd appear at the last second. I didn't. 5 hours later, when he landed in Lisbon, jet-lagged and anxious, he turned on his phone, expecting messages from me. Instead, he saw one from Lauren, his ex-girlfriend. "I'm here. I'm at arrivals." According to Lauren, who called me later that night, Ryan froze. Just stood there with his suitcase in the middle of the airport, staring at her like she wasn't real. "Evelyn's not coming, is she?" he asked. Lauren shook her head. "No," she said gently. "She's not." That's when he broke. Right there in the arrivals hall of a foreign country, confused, embarrassed, blindsided by the realization that I hadn't been dramatic. I'd been done. Lauren got him to sit down, bought him coffee, listened while he unraveled. Then, after making sure he wasn't alone, she called me. "What the hell happened?" she demanded. I explained. "The argument, the accusation, the line he crossed." "So you just left him there?" she said. "I made sure he had someone," I replied. "That's more consideration than he wanted from me." "He's devastated. He told me the way I love feels like control," I said evenly. So I stopped. There was a long pause. "He wants to talk to you," she said. "I don't want to talk to him," I replied. "Tell him to enjoy Lisbon, to wander, to be spontaneous, without my spreadsheets ruining it." I hung up. Sunday morning, I unblocked his number once more. There were dozens of messages, but one stopped me cold. "I'm sorry, I see it now. I was wrong. Please call me. I'll come home early. We can fix this. I love you." I stared at the screen for a long time. Part of me wanted to believe it, but the louder part remembered the contempt in his voice when he'd said I treated him like a task. I typed one response. "You don't get to realize my effort mattered only after you're stuck without it. I hope you find what you're looking for. It's not me." Then I blocked him. For good. Monday morning, my office phone rang. I almost didn't answer it. No one ever used that line unless it was urgent, but something told me to pick up. "Hello, this is Evelyn." There was a pause. A breath held too long. "Evelyn, this is Mrs. Parker, Ryan's mother." I closed my eyes for half a second, just long enough to steady myself. "He's heartbroken," she said immediately. "He made a mistake. He didn't mean what he said." "He meant it enough to say it," I replied calmly. "He was emotional. You know how he gets when he feels cornered." "I wasn't cornering him," I said. "I was loving him the only way I know how, by showing up prepared." "You left him in a foreign country," she said, accusation sharpened by panic. "That was cruel." "I made sure he wasn't alone," I answered. "I arranged for someone he trusted to be there. That's not cruelty, that's boundaries." There was silence on the line. Then her voice softened. "This isn't you," she said. "You're a good woman." "I am," I said. "That's why I won't stay with someone who thinks my effort is a flaw." She tried to argue. I ended the call politely. At work, the whispers started. People had heard. About Lisbon, about Ryan landing alone, about Lauren picking him up. Stories stretched, warped, sharpened by distance. Some colleagues avoided me. Others watched me like I was something brittle. Wednesday evening, my neighbor texted, "Someone's sitting outside your door. A guy. Looks rough." I knew before she finished typing. I didn't go home that night. I stayed at a friend's place, staring at the ceiling, replaying every version of that conversation that could have gone differently, and reminding myself why it couldn't have. Thursday morning, an email arrived. Long, rambling, honest in a way Ryan hadn't been before. He admitted he'd taken me for granted, that he'd confused feeling managed with feeling insecure, that my planning had made him feel inadequate, not controlled. I destroyed something good because I couldn't appreciate it while I had it, he wrote. I just need you to know you were right, and I'm sorry. I didn't reply. Friday afternoon, I ran into his friends at a coffee shop. The looks ranged from pity to hostility. One of them, Sophie, stepped forward. You know he's not eating, right? She said. He can't sleep. He's a mess. I'm sorry he's hurting, I said honestly. It feels like you're punishing him. I'm not punishing anyone, I replied. I'm protecting myself. She didn't have an answer for that. By the end of the week, the friend group had fractured. Some people quietly drifted away from me. Others checked in privately, saying they understood but didn't want to get involved. That's the cost of clarity no one warns you about. 6 weeks passed. Long enough for the noise to quiet, long enough for the adrenaline to fade and leave only truth behind. Ryan stopped trying to contact me after about 2 weeks. I heard, through people who still spoke to both of us, that he'd come home early, then left again. Needed distance. Needed to reset. Apparently, the Lisbon situation became a thing. People debated it like a moral case study. Was I justified? Was I cruel? Was it too far? I lost a few friends over it. People who said they couldn't forgive what I did, even if they understood why I did it. I let them go. Because what none of them seemed to understand was this. I didn't leave Ryan to suffer. I stopped rescuing him from the consequences of his own words. There's a difference. One night over drinks, Maya asked me the question everyone else was afraid to. Do you regret it? She asked. Any of it? I thought about it carefully. I regret that we were incompatible, I said. I regret not seeing it sooner. But Lisbon? I shook my head. No, especially not Lisbon. She frowned. You knew he might still go. I suspected, I admitted. But he'd made it clear he didn't want me managing his choices, so I didn't. She stared at me for a moment, then laughed softly. That's dark. Maybe, I said, but it's also fair. A few weeks later, I started dating again. Not intentionally, not strategically. I met Daniel at a professional conference, of all places, during a breakout session on workflow optimization. We bonded over coffee and mutual complaints about inefficiency. On our third date, I sent him a detailed itinerary for a weekend trip. He smiled and said, "This is thoughtful. Not controlling, not suffocating. Thoughtful." That word landed in my chest like a quiet victory. I saw on social media that Ryan was seeing someone new too. She posted photos barefoot on beaches, captions about going with the flow. Good for him. He found spontaneity. I found compatibility. And the task list he once mocked? It's still there. It just doesn't include someone who thinks effort is a burden. Because love isn't just a feeling. It's planning. It's showing up. It's caring enough to prepare for someone else's comfort. He wanted the feelings without the structure. I wanted someone who understood that structure was the feeling. That night in Lisbon didn't make me cruel. It made me honest. And honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, is the kindest boundary there is.